What's happening, fam? John here from AF Anime, back again with another One Piece related video, this time talking about Big Mom and her role within the future of the One Piece story. Now, if you are not caught up to the manga or are anime only and wish to avoid spoilers, then go ahead and click away from this video, but do go ahead and subscribe and come back to it after you see the conclusion of the events of Big Mom's big fight when it comes to Wano. So now that that's out of the way, for those of you who are still with me, when it comes to Big Mom and her recent defeat at the hands of Kid and Law, or to be more specific, her thoughts and inner dialogue as she suffered that defeat kind of imply that her mindset or her standing as a Yonko and being in the way of this upcoming generation is likely to change before Wano is completed. Now, obviously, Oda has left it up to interpretation as to what that inner dialogue meant, but for me at least, I would think that she may be stepping out of the way when it comes to the worst generation, or at the very least, giving up on her own aspirations to becoming the Pirate King herself. And I think that this would be a brilliant move on Oda's part to show some character growth and progression with a character who is incredibly influential to the One Piece world. So not only does that mean that she would become an asset to Luffy in the worst generation, but as most of us have seen throughout the Totlet arc, it may even improve her relationship with her own children. As we all have seen, she has not been the most loving parent, which is incredibly odd considering that Big Mom is her official moniker. Now, when it comes to anime villains or manga villains, I think the authors or mangaka are usually pretty good at denoting which ones are redeemable and which ones aren't. Like, a lot of people come across as pure evil, but Big Mom kind of comes across as naive in a lot of situations. And I think that most One Piece fans can all agree that she's not going to die as a result of recent events. But when I take a look and analyze the dialogue that she had about Roger in the upcoming generation, I think it's fair to say that there will be a change in the nature of this character and how she affects the world around her. So as I just said, I do think that there is a distinction between a pure evil character and a misguided villain. And I think that Big Mom falls into that latter group. So going forward with the One Piece story, I think that there are multiple paths that Big Mom can take that do not result in her being an antagonist to Luffy and our Straw Hats. So in this video, I'm going to postulate a couple paths that she could take that will result in her still being a big player in the story while not being directly in the path of Luffy and his dream. Now, I can't presume to know what Oda's up to or know what he wants to do, or even say that as fans we should get what we want. But one thing I think all of us can agree on is the fact that we all want to see Big Mom eventually come to the realization that she cannibalized her own childhood and even acquired her devil fruit powers in the process of consuming a child trafficker who had ties to the world government. Now, narrowly, this could have just been tucked away as an interesting backstory for a villain or a character, but I do think that the impending conflict that is brewing with the world government could have a place for her to play a role in getting revenge and or actually acting like a Big Mom. Now, as far as we can tell, Big Mom doesn't necessarily seem to be a fan of the world government, nor does she seem to really care about what they're doing. But one aspect of her personality that could be juxtaposed to the world government's wishes is her inclusivity when it comes to all races. And that's also a way that she could be at odds with the world government and their viewpoints on how the world of One Piece should operate. And as antagonistic as she has been throughout the One Piece story so far, I think most of us can agree that her wishes and desires to create a safe haven for all races and all people within the world of One Piece are admirable, if not misguided. So with all that being said, I do think that it's possible that she could become a benevolent force within the world of One Piece before the story ends. But as I've said earlier in the video, I do think that it's incredibly important that she learns the events of her past before she can either come to terms or even play a role in helping with the dawn of a new age in the world of One Piece. Now, there are a few characters who could help her come to terms with this realization or help her along the path to discovering the truth behind her own past. The first of which, or the most unlikely of the people I'm going to suggest here, is going to be Streusen. Now, with the exception of the Tea Party, this character has kind of remained in the background, but is relatively important to Big Mom's rise to power. And I can't presume to know what kind of role he'll play in the future, but one thing I think it's safe to say is that it's unlikely that he'll be the character to reveal this to Big Mom. And the reason why I say this is because we get to see his reaction when Big Mom supposedly consumes her friends and Mother Carmel, and it doesn't necessarily seem to be that of shock or of disgust. He laughs and cracks up about it and then decides to use her for her power and potential role within the world of One Piece. So although he is a viable candidate to break this news to Big Mom, I don't think it'll be him. The next option is going to be from her daughter Pudding, or more specifically her devil fruit, which has the ability to access the memories of the people that she can influence. Now, more so than Streusen, Pudding is a likable character and doesn't necessarily come across as evil, and as such, she could play a role in helping Sanji and the Straw Hat Pirates by helping her mom to open her eyes to her own past and her role in the potential future. Now, I know the wedding was supposed to be a sham, but I think most of us can assume that her feelings or her emotions towards Sanji are actually fairly genuine. And although I'm not a shipper, and From what I understand, neither is Oda. I would much rather see Sanji end up with Pudding than Nami or any of the other female Straw Hat or Straw Hat companions. And if Big Mom were to officially become an ally to the Straw Hat Pirates, I could totally see Sanji and Pudding reenacting their wedding, this time to much more success. And honestly, of all of the potential ways that she can learn about the past, this one would be the most satisfying. But with that being said, there still is another path that which she can learn the truth and still be a positive influence on the One Piece world going forward. And that would be her placement or her involvement within the future and impending arc of Elbaf. Now, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that alongside Streusen, a couple of giants were present for the events that led to her childhood cannibalism and the acquiring of her devil fruit. And these events could have already come to light if it hadn't been for her failure to bridge a gap with the giants with the marriage of her daughter Lola and the giant Loki. So if for some reason in the near future, if she does play a role in getting the Straw Hats to Elbaf, or even trying to recruit the giants as an anti-world government group, it would stand to reason that the truth of past events would have to come to light. And given what we know about Big Mom, if the giants were privy to Mother Carmel's child trafficking and world government alignment, this could entirely change Big Mom's view or outlook on the One Piece world as a whole. And heck, even though we were supposed to view the Big Mom pirates as an antagonistic force, there are a lot of redeeming qualities when it comes to a lot of Big Mom's children. Katakuri is a well-liked character, as well as Pudding, Chiffon, Lola, and despite these Charlotte children being opposing forces to Luffy and most of the Worst Generation, they do have a lot of redeeming qualities, namely in their concern and their care for family bonds. And no matter how bad a character is, there's always a redeeming quality when it comes to being loyal to one's family. And despite her sordid past with being a pirate and being involved with the likes of Rocks, we have to assume that these children got their concern for family from their own mother. So with that being said, I think it's fair to say that if Big Mom were to ever learn the truth about her past, especially from the giants, it could lead into in-game type material, her becoming a benevolent force for the world of One Piece, as well as being anti-world government, and possibly even dropping the love and worship that she has for a known child trafficker. Now, once Big Mom gets over her personal issues or her personal beefs with Luffy, it's possible that she might join the likes of Whitebeard and Shanks in terms of supporting Luffy and wanting to see where his future leads him. Now, again, when it comes to the Yonko, we can't presume to know where Kaido and Blackbeard are going to stand at the end of the series, but it would seem at least that Kaido does have a form of respect for Luffy and his abilities. And if his death doesn't become a certainty by the end of Wano, and Luffy is successful in defeating him, I could totally see Kaido getting the grand war, the grand conflict that he wants in the form of a great bout against the world government and potentially the Marines. And if he were to engage in this conflict against the world government and with Luffy and the Worst Generation, then that would mean that Luffy would have the support of the 4 original Yonko that we started with: Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido, and Shanks. Now, this is about Big Mom, so I'll probably continue this Kaido conversation in another video, but ultimately I just gotta say that when it comes to Big Mom and her children, I don't necessarily see them as bad characters or bad people. Big Mom may be a bit naive and a bit misguided, but I think with the right prod and the right push in the right direction, she could become a very valuable asset to the Worst Generation, or just in general to overthrowing the world government and their negative influence on the world of One Piece. Shoot, I mean, when it comes to Wano, she might even play a role in using her sibling bonds with Kaido. She just kind of pat him on the back and say, hey, enough. There's no point in challenging this upcoming generation anymore. Let's just lift them up and support them the way that Roger did. In any case, that's just the rambling thoughts of this One Piece fan. That's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comment section down below where you would like Big Mom to end up by the end of the One Piece story. Also, if you enjoyed this content and want to see more like it, like, share, and subscribe. You'd be doing me a great solid by doing so. Or if you just want to talk about all things One Piece, hit that up in the comment section down below as well. I am always listening. My name is John from AF Anime. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.